Hantavirus.
The Hantavirus.
Hantavirus.
The Hantavirus.
The Hantavirus.
Hantavirus first became a major mystery during the Korean War in the 1950s when thousands of soldiers suddenly got very sick with a very strange fever. At the time, doctors were confused because patients had bleeding issues and their kidneys were failing, but no one knew what was causing it. It took over 20 years of searching before a South Korean scientist named Dr. Ho Wang Lee finally found the virus in 1976. He discovered it hiding inside a specific kind of field mouse found near the Hantaan River, a river that flows across the North and South Korean border and is how the virus got its name. For a long time, people thought this was only a problem in Asia or Europe, but that changed in 1993 when a healthy young couple in the Four Corners area of the US died within days of each other from a sudden lung problem. Scientists rushed to the scene and found a new version of the virus living in the local deer mice. They named this new one the Sin Nombre virus, which basically means the virus without a name. Since then, researchers have found that hantaviruses have actually been around for a very, very long time, like thousands of years. They've even found old medical records from as far back as 1959 that show people were getting sick from it long before we even gave it a name. Today, we know there are many different types of hantaviruses found all over the world. Each type of virus usually lives in one specific kind of animal, like a certain mouse or rat. And finding these viruses have helped doctors realize that nature has a lot of hidden germs that can jump to humans. So to really understand what this virus does, you have to look at how it's built. It's essentially a tiny ball made of fat and protein with 3 pieces of genetic instructions inside. These instructions essentially tell the virus how to copy itself and how to trick your body. When the virus gets into your system, it heads straight for the cells that line your blood vessels. And interestingly, the virus doesn't actually kill your cells like a zombie virus would. Instead, the real damage happens because your body's immune system goes into a total panic mode. Scientists call this a cytokine storm, which is like a massive overreaction where your body just starts attacking itself. This freak out makes your blood vessels become leaky, almost like a garden hose with a bunch of tiny holes poked in it. And there are 2 main versions, the lung and the kidney version. In the lung version of the disease, this leakage fills your lungs with fluid, making it nearly impossible to breathe. In the kidney version, the fluid leaks into other parts of your body and stops your kidneys from cleaning your blood. Basically, the virus turns your own defenses against you, causing your organs to stop working. And even if this virus has been around for some time, continued research in 2026 has helped to map out the way the virus actually works to unlock your cells. This map essentially shows that the virus targets specific parts of your cells called integrins, and you can think of these as a docking port for the surface of a cell. So its job is to help cells stick to each other, which is why it's so important, because the virus attaches to these docking ports, acting like a good guy, and then boom, it hits the next cell and then the next cell. Understanding this process is a major step toward making medicines that can stop this virus. And the most important thing to know is that you usually get this virus from rodents, not from other people. Rodents like mice and rats carry the virus, but they don't actually get sick from it themselves. The virus comes out in the mouse's pee, poop, and spit, and most people get infected by breathing in this mouse dust. This happens when mouse waste dries up and gets turned into tiny invisible particles in the air. Imagine you were sweeping out an old dusty garage or a cabin that has been closed up for the winter. If a mouse lived there, your broom could stir up the virus, you might accidentally breathe it in. You can also get it if you touch something a mouse peed on and then you touch an area that's sensitive like your face or your nose. And while rare, a mouse bite could also give you this virus, though this doesn't happen very often. And with almost every type of hantavirus, the trail ends with you. You won't pass it to your friends and you won't pass it to your family. However, there is one rare version from South America called the andesvirus, and this one is different. That specific one can spread from person to person if people are in very close contact. But for everyone else, the biggest risk is being in enclosed areas where infected rodents have left droppings or urine. Keeping your house clean and sealing up holes where mice can get in is the best way to stay safe. And sunlight actually helps with reducing how long the virus stays alive, so make sure you're getting plenty of sunlight in your house as well. And what you need to know is that hantavirus is not like the flu or the cold. It doesn't spread through a crowd in just a few days. It's actually a very slow moving virus when it comes to time. After you breathe in the virus, it can take anywhere from 1 week to up to 2 months before you even feel a single symptom. This long wait is what's called the incubation period, and it makes it hard for doctors to know where someone got sick. Because it usually doesn't spread from person to person, you won't see a wave of it moving across a city. It stays localized, meaning only people who were in the same dusty room or barn usually will get sick. However, for the andesvirus, the spread is still mostly limited to people living in the same house. Scientists measure how fast the virus spreads using a number called the R0 or R0, which tells you how many people one sick person will infect. For most hantaviruses, human-to-human spread is so rare that the effective R0 is close to 0. And even for the andesvirus, once people start staying away from each other, the spread drops off very quickly. But the virus can survive in the environment for several days and sometimes longer in cool conditions, which is longer than some viruses, but not forever. However, because it's so hard to catch from another human, it doesn't explode like a total pandemic virus. Most outbreaks involve just a few people who are all in the same contaminated place. Even with that, it is important to know that the Hantavirus is considered one of the deadliest rodent-borne diseases in the world. If you get the version that attacks your lungs, there's about a 40 to 50% chance you will not survive. It starts out feeling like a normal flu with a fever, a bad headache, and very sore muscles. But after a few days, it suddenly takes a turn for the worse. Your blood pressure drops, your heart struggles, and your lungs start filling with fluid. And people often have to be put on a breathing machine in the hospital very quickly. And the kidney version is also very serious, though it's usually less deadly than the lung version. Depending on the type of virus, the death rate for the kidney version can be anywhere from 1 to 15%. And doctors typically look for warning signs like blood tests to tell if you have the lung or the kidney version. These clues include indicators like signs that fluid is leaking out of your bloodstream. And there is no specific pill or magic cure that kills the virus once it's in you. The only way to survive a severe case is to get into an intensive care unit, better known as the ICU, right away. Doctors have to help your body stay alive while your immune system eventually calms down. It is much more lethal than the common flu, which is why experts take it so seriously. However, hantavirus doesn't just hurt people's health, it can also cause major problems for entire communities. Back in 1993, when the US outbreak happened, it caused a lot of unfair fear and mean behavior toward the Navajo people. Because the first cases were found on their land, some newspapers called it the Navajo flu, and this led to people being refused service at restaurants or being scared to go near them, which was very hurtful. It even hurt the local economy because tourists were too scared to visit the area. Fast forward to 2026, and we're seeing a similar panic with a big outbreak on a cruise ship. As of the recording of this video, 6 people have gotten sick and 3 have died while they were out at sea. And as of right now, the ship continues to face delays and strict restrictions while countries assess the public health risk of letting them dock. While health authorities across several countries race to contain the outbreak, which the World Health Organization says has led to the 6 confirmed cases and 2 probable cases of the andesvirus so far, there is still major concern as to what will happen when the MV Hondius finally docks. This just shows us how a few cases of a rare virus can totally disrupt travel and international relations. Even famous people aren't safe. The wife of actor Gene Hackman died from it in 2025 after being exposed at their home. And this should remind everyone that you don't have to be in a deep jungle to find a dangerous virus. And even though these outbreaks often lead to better public health monitoring and rodent surveillance, it also teaches us that we need to be careful about how we talk about diseases so we don't blame innocent people. And because there is no vaccine yet, the best way to stop the virus is simply to not let it enter your body in the first place. Health experts use a simple motto: seal up, trap up, and clean up. First, you seal up any tiny holes in your house where mice could squeeze through. Then, use traps to get rid of any rodents that are already inside. And when it comes to cleaning, you have to be very careful not to kick up dust. You should never use a vacuum or a broom on mouse droppings. Instead, you soak everything in a mix of bleach and water for at least 5 minutes. This wet cleaning kills the virus so you don't breathe it in. And if you are cleaning a big mess, you should wear a mask like an N95 to keep your lungs safe. In the hospital, doctors sometimes use a special machine called the ECMO, and this machine basically acts like a fake set of lungs and a fake heart to keep you alive while your real ones recover. And scientists are using rapid genetic testing technology that can identify the virus within hours, and this is helping them to figure out exactly which virus is causing an outbreak much more quickly than it did in the past. And even though we can't cure it, these tools are saving more and more lives every year. However, there are still a lot of things that scientists are still trying to figure out about this virus. One of the biggest mysteries is why mice can carry this virus essentially for their whole life and never get sick. Humans get a massive cytokine storm, but the mice seem totally fine and relaxed with the virus inside them. Scientists mostly think rodents may regulate their immune system in a way that prevents dangerous inflammation. If we can figure out how the mice do it, we might be able to teach our human bodies to do the exact same thing. And another big mystery is a weird sweating sickness from the 1400s and 1500s in England. It killed thousands of people very quickly and then just disappeared forever. Some researchers think it was an old version of hantavirus, but there isn't enough biological evidence to prove that theory yet. However, there is also a debate about how many other animals carry hantavirus. We used to think rodents were the only important carriers, but now we've found versions in bats, shrews, and even moles. We don't know yet if these bat versions can make humans sick, but scientists are watching them closely. There's even a debate about the andesvirus and how it moves exactly from person to person. Some scientists think it moves through the air, while others think it only moves through very close contact. But the science is still yet to be determined whether which theory is correct or if they both are. So as of May of 2026, hantavirus is a hot topic because of the major cruise ship outbreak. This situation with the MV Hondius ship has countries all over the world on high alert. And as of recording of this video, 6 people have been affected and 3 have passed away so far. Doctors and researchers are using the latest tech to track the virus as the ship moves through the ocean. And the good news is that the scientists at the University of Texas have recently made the most detailed 3D map of the virus ever. This map is essentially like a wanted poster that shows exactly what the virus looks like, which in turn helps them build a vaccine even quicker. And even though several vaccine candidates are still being studied, none are ready for widespread public use yet. And some experts think we won't even have a vaccine ready until after 2026. With another thing to watch being the weather, a big El Nino event is supposed to happen this year, which is what they call it when the Pacific Ocean near the equator is expected to get unusually warm. This usually means more rain, which leads to more food for mice, which leads to a higher possibility of more mice in our homes. Because of this, health officials are warning people to be extra careful about rodent control this year. And as researchers continue to monitor Hantavirus activity in parts of South America, it's a reminder that even though the virus is rare, it's still very active around the world. And remember, I am not a doctor nor an expert. I am just somebody on the internet that did their research. If you want to learn more about the Hantavirus, I encourage you to do your own research because this is just a very short and quick overview of what it is. The goal of this video wasn't to make you an expert, it was just to make you a little bit more educated than what you already are. And if you're interested in learning more, you can hit the links down in my description below. And even though this is a scary time, I do kindly ask you guys, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can see more well-researched videos like this in the future from me. But until then, I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe.